The Harry Potter series and I have a complex relationship. The books kind of passed me by in the 90s because angsty teenage drinker was more into serious, pretentious fantasy at the time, so I never really fell in love with them and grew up with Harry, Ron and Hermione like so many other people did. Likewise, when the movies came out in the early 2000s, I didn't have any context for whether they were faithful adaptations or not, and I'll be honest here, the quirky, goofy, family-friendly tone of the early films didn't do much to win me over. I didn't hate them or anything, they just weren't really my cup of tea, so I was happy to let the fans get on with it. But I was always kind of curious, because nothing achieves that level of cultural impact without something pretty fucking special to back it up. So, a couple of years ago, I girded my loins, grew my beard, and finally made the time to read the books and find out what all the fuss was about. And damn man, I believe that I finally understood the appeal of Harry Potter. Yeah, J.K. Rowling's absolute abuse of adverbs in her writing can be tough to get through at times. "Watch out, Harry," Hermione shouted warningly. I'm telling you man, once you see it, you can never unsee it. But overall, the series was an impressive feat of imagination, and in a way, it did make me appreciate the movies from a whole new perspective. Now I understood just how much depth, world building and complexity they had to cut and condense to fit some pretty fucking enormous books into a 2-hour narrative. What I'm trying to say with all this push is that I greeted the announcement of a new Harry Potter TV series on HBO with about the same level of enthusiasm I'd welcome the installation of a new toilet seat. I mean, it is an improvement I guess, but is it really going to do anything revolutionary? Ugh, this is the best shite I've done in years! On the plus side, all that extra runtime offers the chance to expand on stuff from the novels that either had to be cut or massively simplified for the sake of movie making, which is nice I guess. Shit man, it might even do my boy Ron justice this time around. Seriously, the Ron from the books is such a wildly different character from the film version, it's not even funny. He's snarky, he's quick-witted and assertive, he's angsty about his poor background but he takes no shit from people about it, he argues regularly with Hermione and he actually wins a lot of the time. On the other hand, I can't say I was exactly desperate to watch the same story get rehashed again, even if it came with a few extra bells and whistles attached. And well, there's the other issue to consider. The first Harry Potter movie came out a quarter of a century ago, and Hollywood is a very different place from what it was in 2001. But hey, it's happening no matter what some arsehole on YouTube says. And yesterday, the first trailer dropped for season 1, so what the fuck do I actually think about it? Well, this one left me feeling confused. Right off the bat, the tone of the trailer is bizarrely dark, serious and heavy, all muted colours and washed out lighting, and overlaid with that booming, ominous Hans Zimmer score that feels more like a grandiose, painfully serious Zack Snyder superhero flick than a whimsical kid's adventure. Don't get me wrong, the intention's obviously to contrast the bleak concrete jungle of the Muggle world with the vibrant magic and colours of Hogwarts, but holy shit, we're not launching into some deadly serious epic fantasy here. The John Williams score from the movies was absolutely pitch perfect for Harry Potter, combining intrigue and mystery with an undertone of adventure and danger, and just a hint of playfulness to remind you that yes, you're allowed to have fun with this one. The characters on the other hand are a bit of a mixed bag. The kids all look fine I guess. The lead actor for Harry doesn't quite have the same spark and charisma that Daniel Radcliffe had, but I'm sure he'll do okay. Hermione is kind of meh. She doesn't have the bushy hair, or the buck teeth, or the pale skin that Hermione was known for, but you know, apart from that she's dead on I guess. Aunt Petunia has been changed from a pretentious upper middle class snob to what looks like a council estate chav for some reason. And yeah, I know that's gonna have Americans scratching their heads in confusion, but what can I say? If you know, you know. It does seem kinda strange though, because the Dursleys represented a very specific kind of conservative middle class British family that's obsessed with appearance and reputation, which puts them exactly at odds with Harry and everything that he represents. If you've ever seen the sitcom Keeping Up Appearances, you'll recognise absolutely everything about them right there. Actually, it almost makes me wonder if old J.K. Rowling was a fan of the show too. The reality though is that the casting in general is probably going to be compared unfavourably to the film franchise. Say what you want about the movies, but the actors they managed to assemble for them were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, where else are you going to see Alan Rickman, Maggie Smith, Ralph Fiennes, Gary Oldman, Jason Isaacs, Brendan Gleeson, Michael Gambon and John Hurt in the same fucking movie? Somehow, I don't think Nick Frost and John Lithgow are quite on the same level. Anyway, enough about that bullshit, let's talk about the real elephant in the room. Draco Malfoy's hair. Seriously, what's with the fucking Gen Z bird's nest resting on his head? He looks about as intimidating as Patton Oswalt. Oh yeah, and Snape's in the trailer as well, and I'll be honest, I think the casting department did a great job with this one. Apart from the hooked nose, the greasy straight hair, the thin physique and the pale sallow skin, he's the spitting image of Snape from the books.
Really?
Joking aside, race swapping such a prominent character that was clearly described as white in the books and was played to absolute perfection by Alan Rickman in the movies was a pretty dumb decision because ultimately it's just going to overshadow everything else about this show. It's basically the only thing that anyone's talking about right now, and based on the ratio on that first trailer, the talk has not been positive. It's also exposing the actor to a lot of hate that he absolutely doesn't deserve, and for what? What does all this accomplish really? Is it going to improve the show? Will it get more people to watch it? Or does it just become a convenient shield to hide behind so you can dismiss any and all criticism, no matter how valid or well-intentioned, as nothing more than ignorant bigotry? There's a reason most fans let out a collective groan these days every time a new remake or reboot of an old franchise gets announced. It's because the culture that allowed the original versions to get made the way they were just does not exist anymore, and what we get instead tends to be a lazy, pandering, badly written facsimile of it. We've seen it in just about every other IP that ever got treated to a modern remake, and it would be a real shame if we saw it again here. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go